Listen to me. There comes a moment in every human life when you stop running from yourself. A moment when the noise of the world fades, and you finally hear the whisper that's been calling you your entire life. The whisper that says there's more inside you, more strength, more power, more hunger, more truth, more potential than you've ever allowed yourself to touch. And right here, right now, in this very breath you're taking, you are standing at the edge of a decision that will shape the rest of your destiny. Because destiny is not written in the stars. Destiny is written in the decisions you make when you feel tired, afraid, unprepared, uncertain, and you rise anyway. People love to talk about change. They dream about change. They post inspirational quotes about change. But very few people will ever step into the arena of their own life and fight for change. Why? Because transformation doesn't happen at the level of convenience. It happens at the level of identity. It requires an internal rebellion against the beliefs that have kept you small. It demands that you break the psychological patterns you've rehearsed for decades. It asks you to divorce your limitations and marry your possibilities. And most people never do it. Not because they're weak, no, because they've never been taught to claim the truth. Your life is controlled by the meaning you attach to your experience. Right now, in this moment, there are people who have gone through worse than you, who have faced storms that would have crushed you, and they've found a way to rise. Not because they had the best resources or the perfect plan or the most supportive environment, but because they made a decision to say, this is not how my story ends. And you know what? You're only one decision away, right now, from an entirely different life. But to access it, to unleash the power within you, we need to go deeper. We need to go to the place inside you where your fears live. The place where your doubts whisper poison. The place where your past tries to convince your present that your future is already determined. It is not. You have lived an illusion. The illusion that your circumstances decide who you become. But circumstances don't create your destiny. Your decisions do. Your standards do. Your rituals do. The identity you choose to live from determines everything. See, every single day you are telling yourself a story about who you are, a story about what is possible for you, a story about what you deserve. And most people living inside a story they never consciously wrote, a story inherited from parents, society, disappointments, failures, trauma, broken dreams, and quiet fears. But the moment you decide to rewrite that story, the moment you stand up and say, this chapter of my life is mine, everything changes. Because the truth is this: life is always happening for you, not to you. But you can't see the for you until you're willing to step forward with courage instead of stepping back in fear. Courage is not the absence of fear. It's the mastery of fear. It's the decision to act while the fear is screaming in your ear. And every time you choose courage, even in the smallest ways, you are reshaping your identity. You're telling your brain, I am the kind of person who shows up. I am the kind of person who follows through. I am the kind of person who refuses to be defined by circumstance. And identity. Identity is the ultimate force of human behavior. You will never act consistently with anything that contradicts the identity you hold at the deepest level. You can want success. You can want power. You can want impact, freedom, abundance, love, passion. But if your identity says, I'm not enough, I'm not ready, I'm not capable, then your mind will sabotage your potential every time. So hear me now. Your breakthrough will not come from learning more. It will not come from waiting for the perfect timing. It will not come from someone giving you permission. Your breakthrough begins the moment you decide to raise your internal standards, the moment you say, I will no longer settle. Because settling is the slow death of the human soul. Settling erodes the spirit. Settling destroys potential. And you were not put on this earth to settle. You were put here to grow, to expand, to multiply your gifts, to ignite your purpose, and to serve something greater than yourself. But none of that begins until you confront the invisible bars of the psychological cage you've been living in. The cage built from old beliefs. The silent rules that say, don't play too big, don't take risks, don't stand out, don't want too much, don't expect more. Those rules were never yours. They were given to you by people who stopped believing in their own possibility. And now, this is your moment to break them. And breaking those rules isn't an act of rebellion against the world. It's an act of loyalty to your soul. Because inside you, beneath the conditioning, beneath the fear, beneath the guilt and the pressure and the expectations of who you're supposed to be, there's a raw, unstoppable life force that has been waiting for you to stop playing small. You know exactly what I'm talking about. You felt it. That fire, that pulse, that moment when something stirs inside you and whispers, "There's more. You are meant for more." And then, almost instantly, the mind tries to shut it down. Who do you think you are? What if you fail? What if you're judged? What if you're not enough? But ask yourself, whose voice is that really? Is that your truth, or is that your conditioning? Is it your power speaking, or is it your fear pretending to protect you? Because fear is the greatest storyteller on earth. It can create entire worlds in your mind. Worlds where you never rise, never change, never risk, never evolve. Fear builds walls so convincing that you forget there were walls you built yourself. But courage knocks those walls down. And clarity reminds you that the walls were never real. So let's talk about clarity. Not the shallow kind of clarity where you write down goals you don't emotionally believe in, but the deep clarity that shakes your nervous system awake. The clarity that feels like truth, the kind you can't unknow once you've touched it. Clarity begins with one question: what do you truly want? Not what you think you should want, not what the world expects of you, not what feels safe, socially acceptable, or convenient. I'm talking about the desire that scares you, the one that feels so massive, so meaningful, so electrifying that just admitting it out loud would change the chemistry of your entire life. Because when you claim what you truly want, everything false begins to fall away. The excuses, the distractions, the limiting beliefs, the stories that kept you comfortable but unfulfilled. See, human beings are not driven by their potential. They're driven by the meaning they attach to their potential. And when you connect to a vision that demands more of you, you will rise. You can't help it. The human spirit is designed to expand. But expansion isn't comfortable. Expansion requires pressure. Expansion requires friction. Expansion requires stepping into the unknown. And that is why so many people avoid it. Because the unknown feels dangerous. But the unknown is where your future lives. The unknown is where your next level begins. The unknown is the birthplace of every transformation, every reinvention, every breakthrough. Think about any moment in your life when you grew, truly grew, and I promise you it happened in a moment of uncertainty. You were scared. You were unsure. You didn't know if you were going to make it, but you moved anyway. You acted. You trusted something deeper than logic. You trusted your capacity. You trusted the part of you that refuses to die, refuses to quit, refuses to shrink. That part of you is still there. It's not gone. It's not weakened. It's simply waiting. Waiting for the moment when you decide to lead your life instead of reacting to it. Because leadership isn't about a title. Leadership is about energy. It's about taking ownership of your internal world so that the external world no longer controls you. When you master your emotional state, you master your life. Not because life stops challenging you, but because you stop collapsing under the weight of those challenges. Emotion is the ultimate force of human behavior. Logic gives you direction, but emotion gives you momentum. And right now, every result in your life, your relationships, your finances, your health, your happiness, your confidence, they're all shaped by the emotional patterns you rehearse every day. So let me ask you, what emotions have you been practicing? Stress? Doubt? Frustration? Overwhelm? Guilt? Fear? Or have you been practicing courage? Gratitude? Determination? Passion? Hunger? Faith? Vision? Because emotion is a habit. And most people are emotionally conditioned by their past instead of consciously creating the emotional state that matches the future they want. And here's the truth most people never learn. Your life is not changed by information. Your life is changed by state. When you shift your state, when you change your emotional energy, your world transforms immediately. Ideas make sense. Action becomes natural. Courage becomes accessible. Clarity returns, and your identity elevates. That is why you must learn to generate your state on demand. Not waiting for inspiration. Not waiting for motivation. not waiting for perfect conditions. You must become the source of your own power. The world doesn't give power. The world responds to it. And when you rise to a higher state, you no longer chase opportunity. Opportunity is drawn to you. People feel your energy. They feel your certainty. They feel the force of someone who has decided to stop negotiating with their limitations. This is the birth of personal power. Not the loud kind that screams confidence, but the quiet kind that radiates certainty. The kind that says, I know who I am. I know what I'm capable of. And I refuse to live one more day below my potential. And once that switch flips inside you, your life is never the same. But potential alone won't save you. Potential without discipline is wasted. Potential without commitment is fantasy. Potential without action is nothing more than spiritual entertainment. Something that feels good for a moment but changes absolutely nothing. And I want you to hear me now. Your life will never rise higher than your standards. Not your goals. Not your dreams. Your standards. Because goals can inspire you, but standards shape you. Standards define what is acceptable and what is no longer tolerable. Standards determine whether you break through or break down. Standards decide whether you show up when it's hard or retreat when it's inconvenient. Every breakthrough in your life will be preceded by a decision to raise your standards, to say, this is who I am now. This is what I expect of myself. This is what I will no longer tolerate. This is the moment when change becomes permanent. When you stop trying and start becoming. But becoming is not an intellectual process. It's emotional. It's primal. It's the moment you tap into your hunger. The hunger that makes excuses impossible. The hunger that makes procrastination irrelevant. The hunger that destroys hesitation and turns desire into destiny. Because hunger is the most powerful force in human psychology. Hunger is what separates the ones who dream from the ones who rise. Hunger is what transforms a quiet wish into an unstoppable obsession. Hunger is what turns a human being into a force of nature. And somewhere inside you, that hunger is alive. It's been silenced. It's been smothered. It's been buried under responsibilities, expectations, disappointments, and the weight of everything you survived. But it is still there. You wouldn't be reading this if it wasn't. Some part of you is starving. Starving for the life you know you're meant to live. Starving for the passion you've been avoiding. Starving for the courage you've been suppressing. Starving for the identity you were born to claim. And right now, that hunger is waking back up. Because human beings are not motivated by comfort. We're motivated by what we stand to gain and what we refuse to lose. And there comes a point when the pain of staying the same surpasses the fear of change. When the pain of settling becomes more unbearable than the fear of stepping into the unknown. That is the threshold. That is the moment transformation becomes inevitable. That is the moment when you say, enough. Not with a whisper, with a roar. But once you cross that threshold, you meet the next guardian on the path of transformation. Identity conflict. The old identity tries to pull you back. It whispers the same lies it has whispered your whole life. You're not ready. You're not worthy. You're not capable. What if you fail? What will people think? But here's the truth most people never understand. Your identity is not a reflection of your potential. Your identity is a reflection of your past conditioning. And your past does not get to dictate your future unless you keep giving it permission. Identity is just a pattern, a story, a collection of emotional associations, a set of rules you accepted before you even realized you could question them. But once you understand that identity is malleable, that you can reinvent who you are, you unlock a level of freedom most people never taste. Reinvention is not about becoming someone new. It's about remembering who you were before the world convinced you to shrink. It's about returning to your essence, the part of you that believed anything was possible, the part of you that wasn't afraid to dream big, to take risks, to fall, to fail, to rise again, the part of you that lived with passion instead of caution, curiosity instead of fear, authenticity instead of approval seeking. That part of you still lives within you, and it's stronger than your excuses. But to reconnect with that identity, you need to master the force that shapes every experience of your life. State. If your state is weak, every challenge feels overwhelming. If your state is powerful, every challenge becomes fuel. Your state determines your focus. Your focus determines your emotions. Your emotions determine your decisions. And your decisions, they determine everything. This is why the greatest skill you can ever master is the ability to shift your state intentionally. When you learn to do that, when you learn to flip the switch from fear to courage, from doubt to certainty, from exhaustion to drive, you become unstoppable. Because obstacles no longer dictate your actions, your state does. Imagine walking into every day fueled by purpose instead of pressure. Imagine facing challenges with confidence instead of anxiety. Imagine making decisions from clarity instead of fear. Imagine taking action from hunger instead of hesitation. That is what emotional mastery gives you. Not a life without problems, but a life where problems no longer control you. And here's the truth. Most people don't lack resources. They lack resourcefulness. They're not held back by their environment. They're held back by their state. When you're in a weakened emotional state, everything looks impossible. But when you're in a peak state, everything becomes figure-out-able. The difference between the life you're living and the life you want is a state you're willing to train. Because you don't rise to the level of your goals. You fall to the level of your emotional conditioning. And conditioning is built through repetition, intensity, and immersion. You must train your mind the way an athlete trains a body every day, without negotiation, without excuses, without waiting for permission, because the world belongs to those who decide to master themselves. But self-mastery is not built in silence. It's forged in the battlefield of your daily life. It's built in the moments when nobody is watching, when nobody is clapping, when there's no applause, no reward, no validation, just you versus your old patterns. You versus the identity that wants to drag you back into comfort. You versus a voice that says, do it later, or it doesn't matter, or you'll never change. Mastery is built in the moments where discipline must speak louder than doubt, because discipline is not punishment. Discipline is the highest form of self-love. It's a decision to give your future self the gift of your present effort. It's the commitment to take action even when you don't feel like it, especially when you don't feel like it, because you are building someone greater than who you were yesterday. Discipline is the bridge between intention and identity. Anyone can intend to change, but only those who commit to disciplined action become the person they were meant to be. And discipline isn't just about what you do. It's about what you refuse to tolerate. It's about the standards you enforce. It's about the rituals you practice. It's about the identity you choose in the moments where quitting looks easier. Because quitting is always easier in the short term, but it's hell in the long term. Quitting builds regret. Quitting builds shame. Quitting builds a fractured identity. Every time you quit, you're teaching your nervous system that your word means nothing, that your dreams mean nothing, that your power isn't real. And every time you follow through, even in a small way, you send a signal to your brain. I am trustworthy. I am consistent. I am becoming someone unstoppable. That's how confidence is built. Not by avoiding fear, not by hoping for courage to magically appear, but by stacking evidence that you can rely on yourself. Confidence is not a personality trait. It's a scoreboard. Every action you take, every promise you keep, every challenge you face, you're adding points to the scoreboard of who you believe you are. When you take action, you gain identity. When you hesitate, you lose identity. When you follow through, you rise. When you shrink back, you self-betray. And the human nervous system cannot thrive in self-betrayal. It begins to shut down, to numb itself, to retreat into survival mode instead of creation mode. But when you live in alignment with your highest standards, everything changes. You begin to breathe differently, stand differently, speak differently. You walk into rooms with different energy, an energy that says, I know who I am, and the world responds to that. But let me tell you something the world rarely understands. Action alone is not enough. You can take massive action and still sabotage your progress if your internal blueprint doesn't match the life you're trying to create. Your blueprint, your identity, your beliefs, your emotional home, it's the internal thermostat of your life. You can push, hustle, grind, fight. But if your internal thermostat is set to room temperature, the moment you create momentum, your unconscious mind will find a way to pull you back to familiar. This is why people succeed temporarily, and then collapse. It's why they lose weight and gain it back. It's why they step into new opportunity and then start sabotaging themselves. It's why they have moments of breakthrough followed by months of stagnation. They change their environment, but not their internal programming. They upgraded their goals, but not their identity. They improved their strategy, but not their emotional home. Your emotional home, the dominance of emotions you return to day after day, is the gravity of your life. Some people's emotional home is frustration or anxiety or disappointment or resentment or overwhelm. And even when things go well, they find a way to pull themselves back into those familiar emotional states because the brain is addicted to what it knows. But you can build a new emotional home. You can condition yourself to live in gratitude, in determination, in passion, in certainty, in creativity, in power. And when you do, everything in your external world begins to rearrange itself around that identity. Because the universe doesn't respond to what you want, it responds to who you are. And who you are is shaped by the emotions you practice. But let's go deeper, because inside every human being, beneath the layers of conditioning, beneath the patterns you've been repeating, beneath the identity you inherited instead of chose, there is a warrior. Not a warrior who destroys, but a warrior who endures, who rises, who adapts, who leads, who serves, who transforms. A warrior who is not defined by circumstances, but forged by them. A warrior who is not afraid of the unknown because they are the unknown. They are the force that shapes their future. And right now, that warrior is waking up inside you. But a warrior without a mission is lost. A warrior without purpose becomes a wanderer. A warrior without a compelling vision becomes a slave to distraction. Purpose is the anchor of your soul. Purpose is what turns pain into power, struggle into strength, and chaos into clarity. Purpose is what gives you the energy to endure what other people run from. Purpose is what transforms suffering into meaning, and meaning into momentum. And purpose doesn't arrive from the outside. Purpose is awakened from the inside. It comes from the moments that broke you, from the storms you survived, from the nights you thought would never end, from the battles you fought alone, from the strength you didn't know you had, until life forced you to find it. Purpose is born in the fire, and you have lived through fire. And now you rise because of it, not in spite of it. But rising is not enough. You must rise with intention. Because the world is full of people who rise for a moment and collapse for a lifetime. People who get a spark but never build a fire. People who feel inspired but never commit. People who glimpse their potential but never claim it. To rise permanently, you need purpose, but you also need direction. Direction shapes destiny. Without direction, your energy leaks into distraction. Without direction, your power dissolves into chaos. Without direction, you become busy instead of effective, active instead of impactful. So let me ask you something few people ever pause to ask themselves. Where are you going? Not where you hope to go. Not where you've been told to go. Not where your fears are pushing you, or where your doubts are pulling you. Where are you choosing to go? What future are you building with your thoughts, your habits, your rituals, and your decisions? Because your future is not a mystery. Your future is a pattern of choices, of emotional states, of micro actions taken every single day. And if you want to know what your life will look like in a year, 5 years, 10 years, look at your patterns, not your intentions, not your dreams, not your wishes, your patterns. But here's the miracle of being human. Patterns can be changed in a moment, with a decision, with a shift in identity, with an emotional breakthrough, with a new standard that declares, this is who I am now. There are moments in life, and maybe this is one of them, where the weight of your history collides with the possibility of your destiny. And in that collision, you get to choose. Do you repeat the past, or do you create the future? Most people repeat. They repeat yesterday's thinking, yesterday's habits, yesterday's fears, yesterday's limitations. They live in a time loop of their own psychology, reliving the same emotional movie over and over again, not because they're incapable of change, but because they've forgotten that they are the author of their own story. But you, right now, you are remembering. You are remembering your power. You are remembering your hunger. You are remembering that this life is yours, not your past's, not your fears, not your environment's, yours. And when a human being remembers their power, they become unstoppable, not because life gets easier, but because they get stronger. Strength is not built in comfort. Strength is built in compression. Strength is built in the moments where life demands more from you than you think you have, and you dig deeper anyway. Strength is built in the tears you wipe away at 2 a.m., in the disappointments that didn't break you, in the failures that became your teachers. Every challenge has been preparing you. Every setback has been sculpting you. Every heartbreak has carved out space for something greater to grow. Every fall has strengthened the muscles required for your rise. You did not come this far to collapse now. You came this far to discover who you truly are. And who you are is not defined by your scars. Your scars are proof of your strength. Who you are is not defined by your failures. Your failures are evidence that you refuse to live small. Who you are is not defined by your fear. Your courage is defined by the fear you move through. So let's talk about fear. Truly talk about it. Because fear is not the enemy. Fear is a compass. Fear points you toward the very thing that will expand you. Fear reveals where your freedom lives. If something scares you because it threatens your safety, trust that instinct. But if something scares you because it threatens your comfort, your ego, your identity, run toward it. Run straight into it. Because on the other side of that fear is the next version of you, the version you've been trying to become. Fear is the gatekeeper of growth. Fear is the test of commitment. Fear is the invitation to a bigger life. When fear shows up, it's not saying, stop. It's saying, pay attention. It's saying, this is a direction. It's saying, your expansion is here. And once you learn to interpret fear not as a warning, but as a guide, your entire life transforms. You stop retreating from challenge. You stop negotiating with your potential. You stop waiting for courage to magically appear. You begin to act from your higher self, the self that knows you are capable of more than you've ever been willing to admit. And when you act from that place, momentum is inevitable. Momentum is the compound interest of consistency. Momentum is the force multiplier of discipline. Momentum is a reward for refusing to quit. Momentum is what happens when you align your state, your identity, your purpose, and your action. Momentum is the moment life begins to work with you instead of against you. But remember, momentum must be protected. The quickest way to destroy it is to let the past reclaim you. The quickest way to weaken it is to second-guess yourself. The quickest way to kill it is to surround yourself with people who don't believe in your destiny. Guard your environment. Guard your energy. Guard your vision. Not from a place of fear, from a place of responsibility. Because you are responsible for the future you're building. You are responsible for the person you're becoming. You are responsible for the life you will one day look back on. And the question is, will that future be a reflection of your power or your hesitation? I want you to feel this deep in your bones. The life you dream of, the impact you crave, the freedom you hunger for, it is not out of reach. It is not a fantasy for someone else. It is not reserved for the lucky or the chosen. It is waiting for you. Waiting for the moment you finally decide to stop apologizing for your greatness. Stop shrinking for the comfort of others and step fully into your power. But stepping into power demands action. Massive, relentless, uncompromising action. Action that scares you. Action that exposes you. Action that humbles you. Action that transforms you. Because action is the only language the universe responds to. Desire without action is a whisper in a hurricane. Dreams without action are illusions you entertain to feel alive without paying the price. Belief without action is nothing more than a polite suggestion to yourself. And the price of action is courage. The price of action is resilience. The price of action is persistence when the world tells you to quit. The price of action is sacrifice, not for someone else, not for recognition, not for comfort, but for your destiny. And let me tell you something most people never grasp. Sacrifice is not suffering. Sacrifice is investment. The more you give now, time, energy, focus, discipline, the more you receive later in freedom, in growth, in power, in fulfillment. Think about a seed. It sacrifices being a seed to become a tree. It sacrifices immediate comfort to break the shell, push through the dirt, and reach for the sun. And the tree does not argue. It does not complain. It does not wait for someone else to tell it's ready. It simply grows. It simply rises. It simply fulfills its destiny. You are that seed, and your life is the soil, rich with opportunity, fertile with possibility. But you must grow. You must push. You must reach. You must commit to the struggle that precedes the bloom, because there is no transformation without pressure. There is no breakthrough without resistance. There is no victory without battle. There is no expansion without friction. And the battle is not outside of you. It is within. It is the fight against your fears, your doubts, your procrastination, your excuses, your old identity, your limiting beliefs. It is the battle to claim the version of yourself that has been waiting in silence, holding its power in check, longing for release. And when you win that battle, everything outside begins to align. Not because the world changed, but because you did. Not because life became easier, but because your mind became stronger. Not because fear disappeared, but because you discovered the courage that was always inside. And courage, true courage, is contagious. Courage inspires. Courage electrifies. Courage becomes a magnet for opportunity, for influence, for connection, for impact. Because people follow energy, not words. People respond to certainty, not intention. People are drawn to those who embody possibility, not those who simply dream about it. And here is the most powerful truth of all. You are not here to live small. You are not here to hide. You are not here to negotiate with fear or compromise with mediocrity. You are here to rise, to conquer, to expand, to serve, to leave a legacy that outlives your life. And service is the ultimate multiplier. Power without contribution is hollow. Wealth without generosity is empty. Influence without impact is meaningless. Your life's fulfillment is not measured by what you get, but by what you give, by how many lives you touch, how many people you inspire, how many hearts you elevate simply by deciding to live fully. And contribution begins with mastery. Mastery of your mind, your emotions, your actions. Mastery creates confidence. Confidence creates momentum. Momentum creates influence. Influence creates impact. Impact creates legacy. And legacy is not about being remembered. It's about being felt. It's the energy you leave behind in every life you touch, every heart you lift, every standard you raise. It's the invisible force that continues to expand long after you've left the room. It's the proof that your life was not in vain. And here's the thing. You already have the seeds of that legacy within you. Everything you need is already inside. The courage, the power, the hunger, the creativity, the resilience, the heart, the mind, the potential. The only thing standing between you and that life is a decision to step into it fully. Not tomorrow, not when it feels convenient, not when the conditions are perfect. Right now, decide to stop negotiating with your potential. Decide to stop shrinking to make others comfortable. Decide to stop living at the mercy of fear, doubt, or hesitation. Decide to claim the life that is waiting for you. The life you've been imagining, hoping for, longing for, yearning for. Because this is the truth. No one will do it for you. No one can do it for you. No one owes you. Your destiny is yours. Your power is yours. Your life is yours. And the moment you finally decide, the moment you commit, the moment you act, the universe bends. Doors open. People rise to meet you. Opportunities appear. Momentum accelerates. Fear dissolves in the heat of action. Doubt becomes fuel. Resistance becomes strength. This is the power within you. This is the fire that never dies. This is the warrior, the leader, the creator, the force of nature you were always meant to be. And it is calling you right now to rise, to conquer, to expand, to claim, to give, to become unstoppable. And now I want you to feel in your chest that energy, that fire, that pulse that says, I will not settle. I will not shrink. I will not quit, because that is the essence of your power. That is the force that has carried you through every challenge, every heartbreak, every moment of doubt, every time life tried to tell you you weren't enough. That force is not new. It has always been inside you. You just forgot to turn it on. But today, you remember. Today, you ignite it. Today, you unleash it. Because life doesn't reward hesitation. Life doesn't reward those who wait politely for permission. Life rewards those who decide, decisively, unwaveringly, fully, to step into their destiny. And here's the truth most people never confront. Your breakthrough will never come from thinking more. It will come from doing more, not from planning, not from overanalyzing, not from waiting for perfect conditions, but from taking massive, determined, unstoppable action. Right now, today, this hour, this minute, and continuing until your new life is undeniable. And when you act, you will face resistance. You will face challenges. You will face people who doubt you, situations that pressure you, storms that test you. And that is good. That is the proving ground. That is the arena where greatness is forged. Because nothing remarkable in this world was ever created without struggle. Nothing life-changing was ever built without obstacles. Every legend, every hero, every breakthrough, every victory, all of them were born out of relentless action in the face of uncertainty, fear, and challenge. And so will yours, your life, your destiny, your purpose. All of it demands courage. All of it demands hunger. All of it demands an unshakable belief in yourself. Even when the world seems to scream against you, you see, belief is the invisible currency of success. Belief is what separates those who rise from those who collapse. Belief is what fuels resilience when pain comes. Belief is what keeps your feet moving when the floor is shaking beneath you. Belief is the magnet that pulls opportunity into your orbit. And belief is not wishful thinking. Belief is forged. Belief is built through repeated proof to yourself. Evidence that you can show up, that you can endure, that you can win, that you can create, that you can conquer. So every time you act in alignment with your highest self, every time you make a decision that honors your potential, every time you choose courage over comfort, you strengthen that belief. You reinforce the identity of a winner, a creator, a leader, a force of nature. And when you couple belief with massive action, with emotional mastery, with unstoppable momentum, with purpose-driven contribution, you become the person life cannot ignore. You become the human who commands attention, energy, respect, and influence, not through force, not through luck, not through permission, but through the undeniable power of alignment. Mind, heart, body, and spirit, all moving together toward your destiny. And here's the secret few people ever embrace. The moment you decide to stop shrinking, the moment you decide to live bigger than your fears, the moment you decide to commit fully, there is no failure, only feedback. Every setback becomes a lesson. Every obstacle becomes a stepping stone. Every criticism becomes a mirror reflecting where you need to grow, not a wall that stops you. You will stumble, you will fall, you will fail, and that is glorious. Because every failure is a confirmation that you dare to live, that you dare to take risks, that you dare to expand beyond your comfort zone. And it is in that daring that your power grows. It is in that daring that your life transforms. It is in that daring that your destiny finally meets your courage. So let me ask you right now, are you ready to dare? Are you ready to stop negotiating with mediocrity? Are you ready to reject the whispers of fear and step into the roar of your power? Because the life you desire, the freedom you crave, the impact you long to create, the legacy you are meant to leave, will not come to those who hesitate. It will come to those who decide, and then act, and then keep acting, no matter what. You have survived every excuse. You have endured every limitation. You have overcome every obstacle that once tried to define you. And now it is your time. Time to step forward with courage. Time to act with ferocity. Time to claim what is yours. Time to live so fully, so powerfully, so intentionally, that every cell in your body, every thought in your mind, every beat of your heart resonates with the undeniable truth. I am here to unleash the power within me. Because when you finally make that decision, when you fully commit, you are unstoppable. Nothing can block your momentum. Nothing can diminish your energy. Nothing can challenge a fire that is now awakened inside you. And as you rise, as you conquer, as you create, as you impact, as you lead, as you transform, you'll inspire others to do the same. The ripple effect of your courage, your power, your discipline, your contribution, your relentless pursuit of excellence, it will touch lives, generations, and the world in ways you cannot yet imagine. This is the moment. This is your declaration. This is the awakening. This is a choice that changes everything. You are not a victim of circumstance. You are not defined by your past. You are not limited by fear. You are limitless. You are powerful. You are unstoppable. And now, rise. Rise with all the fire, all the hunger, all the courage that has been inside you all along. Rise with unwavering commitment, unshakable faith, and relentless action. Rise and take your place in the life you were always meant to live. Because this is it. The moment you decide, the moment you act, the moment you become unstoppable. And I want you to feel it now, deep in your chest, in your bones, in the very core of your being, that fire, that force, that unrelenting energy that refuses to be silenced. That energy is not something new. It is not borrowed from anyone else. It is yours, always has been, always will be, and it is roaring to be unleashed. You have spent too long doubting, too long shrinking, too long waiting for circumstances to align, for luck to favor you, for someone to hand you permission. And now you know the truth. No one will ever give you permission. No one will ever hand you your destiny. No one will ever grant you the life you crave. That life is earned. That life is claimed. That life is created through the relentless pursuit of your own greatness. And greatness is not polite. Greatness does not wait. Greatness does not whisper. Greatness commands. Greatness demands. Greatness requires you to show up fully, with all your courage, all your discipline, all your focus, all your hunger, and all your heart. The truth is, no one can rise for you. No one can endure for you. No one can fight for your dreams but you. And when you finally embrace that, you step into power unlike anything you've ever known. Because power does not come from waiting. Power comes from claiming. Power comes from action. Power comes from mastering yourself so completely that the world cannot ignore the force that is now unleashed inside you. Every obstacle you have faced, every disappointment, every failure, every heartbreak, every time life knocked you down, they were preparing you. They were forging you. They were giving you the tools to rise stronger, wiser, more relentless, more unstoppable than ever before. And the fact that you are here today, breathing, alive, still willing, still hungry, proves that the seed of greatness was never broken. It was only dormant, waiting for this moment. This is your awakening. And I want you to see it clearly. Your past does not define you. Your circumstances do not control you. Your fears do not dictate your destiny. You and only you define who you are. You and only you decide what is possible. You and only you choose whether you will settle for mediocrity or rise into the extraordinary. And rising into the extraordinary demands everything from you, not in a shallow, temporary, fleeting way, but in a deep, transformative, permanent way. It demands that you rethink everything you believed about yourself. It demands that you rewrite the story of your life. It demands that you face fear, face doubt, face discomfort, face uncertainty, and step forward anyway. Because comfort is a killer of potential. Comfort is the enemy of greatness. Comfort is what keeps the human soul small. And every time you choose courage over comfort, every time you choose action over hesitation, every time you choose growth over fear, you are unleashing the power that has always been yours. And here is the most powerful secret I can share with you. You are capable of far more than you can imagine, far more than the world tells you, far more than your doubts suggest, far more than your fears allow you to believe. You are limitless. And the only thing standing between you and your extraordinary life is a decision to step fully into your power, the courage to act relentlessly, and the discipline to refuse to turn back. Your life is a canvas, and you are the artist. Every thought, every decision, every action, every choice, it is your brushstroke. And the picture you paint will either be one of brilliance, courage, and impact, or one of regret, hesitation, and mediocrity. The choice is yours. And there has never been a better time than right now to pick up the brush and create the masterpiece you were born to make. So I want you to feel it now. The energy, the hunger, the certainty, the power, the fire. It is there. It has always been there. And the moment you finally decide to stop negotiating with fear, Stop shrinking to make others comfortable. Stop doubting your potential. Stop delaying your action. That fire ignites like a wildfire inside you. That energy explodes. That force becomes unstoppable. And when that happens, the world has no choice but to respond. Doors will open. Opportunities will appear. People will rise to meet you. Circumstances will bend. Challenges will fuel you. Fear will become fuel. Doubt will dissolve. Momentum will accelerate. And you will realize with absolute clarity that the only thing that ever truly mattered was the courage, the commitment, the relentless action, and the refusal to settle for anything less than the greatness you were born to live. So now, here is your moment. Right now, this breath, this heartbeat, this second, decide. Decide to rise. Decide to act. Decide to master yourself. Decide to pursue your purpose with relentless hunger. Decide to leave a legacy that cannot be ignored. Decide to unleash the power within you. And when you do, there is no turning back. There is no hesitation. There is no compromise. There is no shrinking. There is only forward. Forward with courage. Forward with strength. Forward with fire. Forward into the life you were always meant to live. Forward into the extraordinary. Forward into your destiny. Because this is it. This is your awakening. This is your breakthrough. This is the moment you step fully into your power, into your purpose, into your legacy. And when you do, nothing in the world can stop you. Nothing. You are limitless. You are unstoppable. You are a force of nature. And the power within you is now unleashed. And now I want you to feel it. Every fiber of your being trembling with the truth you've just awakened to, the life you've been dreaming about. It is not a fantasy. It is not a distant possibility. It is not something that happens to someone else. It is here. It is now. And it has been waiting for you to step fully into it, to claim it, to fight for it, to rise and become the unstoppable force you were born to be. Because listen to me, life will not wait for your permission. Life will not pause until you feel ready. Life will not lower the bar for you. The universe rewards the bold. The universe responds to the relentless. The universe bends to those who refuse to compromise, refuse to shrink, refuse to settle. And right now, as you sit here, right now, as you breathe this breath, you are deciding, will you live small or will you explode into the extraordinary? Will you allow fear, doubt, and hesitation to chain you? Or will you break those chains, shatter them, crush them underfoot, and step forward as the unstoppable human being you were always meant to become? I want you to feel it. I want you to feel the fire, the hunger, the certainty, the power that has been inside you all along. That fire has not been waiting for the perfect moment. It has been waiting for you to remember that the moment is now. The power has not been waiting for someone else to grant it. It has been waiting for you to claim it. The life you desire has not been waiting for luck or circumstance. It has been waiting for you to act, to commit, to rise. Because here is the unshakable truth. Everything you want, everything you desire, everything you dream of, it is proportional to fire you are willing to carry, the discipline you are willing to wield, the courage you are willing to summon, and the action you are willing to take. And I want you to hear this. Nothing worth having is ever easy. Nothing worth achieving is ever simple. Nothing worth creating is ever handed to you on a silver platter. If it were easy, everyone would have it. If it were simple, everyone would rise. But life tests us. Life challenges us. Life measures our hunger, our resilience, our courage, and our refusal to quit. And it is through that test, through the fire, through the pressure, through the friction, that you are forged into the unstoppable force you were always meant to be. So I want you to see it clearly now. The fear you feel is not your enemy. It is your compass. It is pointing to exactly where your destiny lies. The doubt you feel is not your obstacle. It is a signpost marking the edge of your comfort zone, the boundary of your old identity, the threshold of your next level. The pain you feel is not a punishment. It is a forge shaping your power, your resilience, your courage, and your legacy. And here's the miracle. On the other side of that fear, on the other side of that doubt, on the other side of that pain, is the life you've been longing for. It is the life you deserve. It is the life you were born to create. It is a life that will make every sacrifice, every struggle, every tear, every failure, every heartbreak worth it. And it begins with one thing, one massive, undeniable, unstoppable decision. I will no longer settle. I will no longer shrink. I will no longer wait. I will no longer allow fear to control me. I will unleash the power within me. Because once that decision is made, fully, completely, irrevocably, there is no turning back. The universe itself begins to conspire in your favor. Momentum accelerates. Energy ignites. Doors open. Opportunities appear. People rise to meet you. Circumstances shift. And your life becomes a reflection of the unstoppable power you have chosen to embody. So I want you to feel it in every cell of your body. Feel the energy. Feel the fire. Feel the certainty. Feel the courage. Feel the power. Feel the hunger. Feel the unwavering commitment to yourself, to your purpose, to your vision, to your destiny. Let it course through you. Let it electrify you. Let it awaken every dormant part of your potential. Because right now, as you embrace this power, you are becoming someone the world cannot ignore. You are becoming someone who commands respect, influence, and impact. You are becoming someone whose energy, presence, and contribution will touch lives, inspire generations, and leave a legacy that outlives you. And now, with every ounce of strength, every beat of your heart, every thought, every breath, I want you to make the final leap, the leap from dreaming to becoming, from wishing to acting, from fear to courage, from hesitation to unstoppable momentum, from potential to mastery. And in this leap, you'll realize something profound. The power was never outside you. The power was never in luck, in timing, in circumstance, or in permission. The power was always inside you. The fire was always there. The force was always there. The hunger was always there. And now it is awake, it is alive, and it is unstoppable. So rise. Rise with ferocity. Rise with hunger. Rise with courage. Rise with purpose. Rise with clarity. Rise with discipline. Rise with love. Rise with power. Rise with relentless, unstoppable action. Rise as a creator of your destiny, the master of your emotions, the architect of your legacy, the force of nature you are always meant to be. And as you rise, know this: the world is ready for your greatness. The universe is ready for your impact. Your friends, family, community, and the generations yet to come are ready for your contribution. But most importantly, you are ready. You have always been ready. You are powerful beyond measure, courageous beyond fear, and unstoppable beyond doubt. And now, in this moment, with every ounce of energy in your being, with every heartbeat, with every thought, with every breath, claim it. Claim the life, the legacy, the impact, the power, the purpose, the destiny that is yours. Claim it, own it, live it, become it, because this is your moment. This is your awakening. This is your breakthrough. This is the explosive, life-changing, world-transforming power within you, unleashed. Rise, now, rise, unstoppable, unbreakable, unforgettable. The world has no choice but to respond to the force that is you.